Good morning, everyone. We are going to get started in just a little bit, so please find your seats, please. Good morning, everyone. We are going to get started. I call this meeting to order at 9:03 a.m. Moving on to our land acknowledgement. Associated Students recognizes and acknowledges the first people of this ancestral and unceded territory of the Fernandano Tataviam Band of Mission Indians that is now occupied by our campus of California State University Northridge. Honors their elders, past and present, and the descendants who are citizens of the Fernandano Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. Associated Students recognizes that the tribe is still here and we are committed to lifting up their stories, culture, and community. Now moving on to roll call.
Vice President Jimeniano Aragon,
Here.
Senator Abrams,
Here.
Senator Arias Gomez,
Here.
Senator Asuncion, Senator Atias,
Here.
Senator Basilio,
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa,
Here.
Senator Cunan,
Cunanan here.
Senator Dawood, Senator Dominguez,
Here.
Senator Garcia, Senator Gavino,
Here.
Senator Hernandez, Senator Katka,
Here.
Senator Quiroga,
Here.
Senator Ramirez,
Here.
Senator Umana,
Here.
Senator Vicente.
Here.
Thank you, quorum.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion? Senator Gabino.
I move to approve the agenda for August 25th, 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Dominguez, is there any discussion? Vice President Jimeniano Aragon.
I move to amend the agenda to strike through item D to suspend section 3, article E of the Senate standing rules to allow Senator Michael Asuncion to take a class from 10 a.m. to 10:50 a.m. under new business.
Thank you. I believe I need a second for this amendment. Senator, is there any discussion on the amendment to the motion? Just for some context, we did receive Senator Asuncion's resignation a few days ago. So that is why we will be suspending this line item. Is there any discussion on this amendment? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of amending the agenda to strike through line item D under new business, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those opposed? All those abstained? Thank you. The amendment passes. Moving on to our original amendment, the approval of the agenda as amended. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please raise your hand. Okay, this passes unanimously. Moving on to the approval of the minutes, is there a motion? Senator Basilio? Approve the minutes of August 4th, 20. Can you repeat it one more time? The mic cut out. I the minute August 25. I to approve the minutes for August 4th, 2025. Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Cunanan, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none. If there is no objections, we will approve this unanimously. Okay, this passes unanimously. Moving on to our special presentations, we will be having a special presentation on CSUN's immigration enforcement resources by Dr. William Watkins, Dr. Freddie Sanchez, Chief Alfredo Fernandez, and Cartino Arias. You may come forward to the podium. And then there's a clicker right there on the podium for your slideshows.
So good morning to you all, and welcome to the new academic year. It's wonderful to see all of your faces, although you've been busy throughout the summer. I've seen most of you around here really diligently preparing for our students as they arrive here. We're really excited about this fall. This fall, it promises to be a year in which our enrollment continues to grow. Lots of freshmen around here, and probably several of you had a chance to meet them during new student orientation, and we thank you for your service there. As we began to work with your president and vice president this summer, we being the president and I, one of the things that we learned of very early on was their desire to have our student leaders, all of you, updated as to the university's plans and protocols regarding immigration enforcement. Certainly coming off of a summer like we all experienced, and I apologize for having to crane back around this way. Should we pull this back here a little bit? But in any event, what an outrageous summer we experienced. And we know that our students are really very concerned about the prospects and potential for immigration enforcement on college campuses. Last spring, when we were doing protocol development and talking to the campus community, we had some basic understandings in mind in terms of how ICE and other agencies will be doing immigration enforcement, largely not doing those in educational institutions, churches, hospitals. With the current administration, all of that went out the window, and we saw what we saw this past summer. We're hopeful that immigration enforcement will continue to not be aggressive in educational spaces. I think those of you who are aware of LUSD right now, there seems to have been a pullback from that and not the kind of aggressive behavior that we had been so fearful of, but we know things can change in a nanosecond here. I'm going to invite my colleagues to come and to share with you a presentation that reflects what we are communicating, certainly especially to our faculty and staff, our employees here, our students, in terms of how they should be able to be thinking about immigration enforcement on our campus. Do know that all of this is a dynamic process, and we will continue to make adjustments as things become known to us about circumstances that we may not have anticipated happening in our environment here. But I applaud you for your interest in knowing this and for being informants to students, particularly those who are brand new to Cal State Northridge, don't know our culture. What you can do as individuals who can help share the message is really quite priceless. And so we thank you for that, and thank you for the feedback that hopefully you will give us about additional things that students need. Your leaders here are always in touch with us and are not shy about letting us know how we can up our responsiveness to students. So I'm going to pause there, and I think Dr. Freddie Sanchez will lead the presentation off and get us started here, and I'll hang around. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? It's the start of the semester. We're hoping that we're going to pull this back a bit. Hold on. All right, y'all. We wanted to get comfortable and see all of you. For those that might not know me, I am the AVP for Student Affairs, responsible for equity and inclusion. And I've had the fortune of working with several of you on a lot of the DEI related initiatives. So we're excited to be here. I have a presentation team, and by I mean we are presenting, and we wanted to share some context. The Chief of Police will be joining us shortly as we move through the presentation. And then
Good morning, everyone. A lot of new faces here. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. We're gonna give you some good content, I believe, in terms of what we've been experiencing this summer, but also what we were dealing with last semester. My name is Catarino Arias. I go by Tony, and I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for Police Services here at CSUN. I'm the only one that does this work in the entire Cal State system. I'm one of the civilian employees within the Department of Police Services that has been working along with other partners in the information that you will be hearing this morning. And for me, it's an honor to be here. It's a pleasure to have this position. And with my title of DEI, you can imagine what we are going through as well. And so this presentation, along with the beginning of the semester, takes a very important personal start to my work, but also a professional understanding that we're in a very difficult situation. But at the same time, we're here to be a resource to all of you. And we know that as leaders that all of you are, we're gonna start to work together to not only answer questions, but to also be able to provide support to the rest of the campus. We've already started doing informational sessions already, and we're learning a whole lot from the students that have come back. Our students, along with all of you, as if you were not students, all of you are dealing with a lot. And we understand that. We know that dynamics are changing quickly, but at the same time, we're here to let you know that internally, we're also paying attention to what's going on. And we're learning from all of you as we move forward. We've been learning from other students, faculty, and administrators that there are things that we need to address collectively. And with your help, with your partnership and collaboration, I know this is not an easy time for any of us, but more so for our families and our communities that are dealing with a whole lot. You know, we are hearing from students who have had a different summer. They've had to take on additional responsibilities at home. Parents are not coming out of their homes as well, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to have to discuss these things, but at the same time, as far as our team is concerned, we're here prepared to take this on together with all of you. And yes, it's an unusual start to a semester. We're gonna be asking everyone, of course, to do what you do as students, to be in the classroom and continue to do that work as well. But as we get through the slides here in a moment, you're gonna see that there's been a lot of thought that has been put into this information, and we hope that by the time that we're done, that you're able to understand the process that we've been engaged in, but also that you're able to see the commitment and the passion that we have to ensure that, one, the campus stays safe, but also that we are involved 100% in ensuring that we continue to prepare ourselves, we continue to pay attention to what's going on around us, and at the same time that we continue to be partners in an issue that I do believe it's affecting everyone. It's not just one group, it's affecting everyone. And I'll turn it over to Freddie so we can start the presentation. Or Chief, you want to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. Fred Fernandez, Chief of Police. So glad to be here today to talk to you. And I'm just going to allow the PowerPoint to move forward, and then I'll talk to you when it's my turn.
Perfect. The last person on the screen, which we wanted to highlight, who's not here today, is our manager at the Dream Center. So our Dream Center is open and it's operational, and we wanted to make sure that he was present as our students are showing themselves in that space. It's been a difficult summer, y'all. I think when we first started these presentations last spring, where gladly the AS allowed us to come in last spring to do a presentation, we had a different context in mind. We understood that this was an issue. We understood that we're having a conversation about what would it look like for federal immigration enforcement officers coming into our campus. But the summer was visible. It was a lot of difficulty watching the news, and immigration rates that are currently being litigated in the courts, whether they were constitutional or not. We had a presentation last week at the USU Leadership Summit, and our students were fortunate to meet with 80 students during that presentation, and a lot of what came back from their feedback was that we weren't talking about race enough. And unfortunately, this has become a racial issue, although immigration is not about race, it's about placement. And so we wanted to make sure that we situate that conversation because that's what a lot of our students are facing, whether it's racism, whether it's a skin tone, whether it's a language access issue. And so that is what we're seeing. And so we wanted to make sure that we contextualize that. The first slide, the way we curated this presentation is to give you some context of where we've been. We then start a conversation on where we are now. We have some interactive conversation in a moment, but we want to make sure that what we share with you all today is our collective conversation as an institution. It isn't the police just having a conversation on their own on what they're going to do. It's an institutional dynamic. So this cross-collaborative team really thinking about all layers, our students, our faculty, and our staff, because this is not just a student issue. It's our faculty and staff as well, and their families. So last spring, we understood, based on the data that was available to us, that we had 1,093 students that identified themselves as undocumented students by completing the California DREAM Act. That is how that number came to be. But we understand that on this campus, we have a lot more students who identify as students from mixed status families, whose families, whether it's direct parents, siblings, might be immigrants to this country. And so the number of impact is a lot larger than the 1,000 students that we have. And so we want to have that in the mind of all of you because it's not just a small segment of this institution, it's a larger segment. And like I said, our faculty and staff as well. We have faculty and staff that might have DACA when DACA was available to apply. And they were fortunate enough to complete the DACA process and now are employees with us. And so those are the staff members that we also are mindful of. And so as we go through this presentation, I want you to start thinking about that. If you're not directly impacted, your peer to your left or to your right or in class might be. And so I want you to have that in your reference. Who has seen a website that we created last year called an Immigration Enforcement Resource Hub? Raise your hand if you've seen the website. Okay. So on Friday, you all should have received an email from the provost and Dr. Watkins welcoming you to the fall. Who saw that email? Okay, all of you should raise your hand, because if you didn't, you will be reading that email shortly. But in the body of that email, there was a link to an Immigrations Resource Hub, which we'll link later, but we want to make sure that you see that because that document or that website actually details all the conversations that we're having today. And so it's really developed by the lens of our students. The one feedback that we got from our students when we were showing it is it has too many words. Well, we need you all to read. And so it's really important that you really focus on the minute information because it's critical. If an ICE agent or any sort of agent comes to this campus, we want you to be aware of how to handle and how to support that. Last spring, we held 15 presentations altogether. As of now, we've held 5, and we're slated to have 9 before the fourth week, 9 more. So we're gonna probably hit 15 in the next 4 weeks. And so as we continue to think about this, we want to make sure that we're prepared as an institution early on in the semester. I wanted to share with you all that the Dream Center is open. I said that before. What we did experience in the spring is that we saw a physical number of students decrease in the space, but we saw that our undocumented students and students from mixed status families were actually accessing us via phone calling us, via emails, and attending some of our virtual programming. And so we want to make sure that you all are aware that the Dream Center is still available and supportive. Who knows where the Dream Center is? Raise your hand if you know where the Dream Center is. Okay. If you do not know, it's right outside across from the subway. So if you make your way out there, it's in the student union. That's where our Dream Center is located. This summer, on the right-hand side of the screen, we saw what is possible. We saw that ICE or immigration enforcement is coming from a lot of agencies, whether it's US Border Patrol. Keep in mind that the US Border Patrol has jurisdiction over the first 100 miles next to the border. We're way past that. And so we know that everything is possible in this stance. And so we want to make sure that you're aware that we're seeing enforcement happen from all kinds of agencies that are federally funded. So Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Department of Homeland Security, the Homeland Security Investigation Team, the DEA, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, the Fire Marshal, and the list continues. We saw them in uniform. We saw them in civilian clothing. We saw them in camouflage. We saw them in face masks and coverings. And so everything is possible. And so as we think about this, we want to make sure that we paint that picture. Should that be on our campus, how would they show up? It all depends. We can see all kinds of things. So just be mindful. The one thing that we want to make sure we have is an understanding of a continuation of how it has impacted us directly. So in the summer, and we want to share with you how this could all transpire. There was an individual wearing an FBI jacket. That's what was on the back. And one of our students called the Dream Center saying there was ICE enforcement happening on campus. Well, we identified that it was actually a routine employment verification. It wasn't ICE necessarily, but it shows to you all that everyone is really heightened awareness. And so we want to make sure that as we continue to have that conversation and as we go through the presentation, that you contact DPS directly when you believe that there's an ICE sighting on campus so that we can do an investigation. We investigated in a matter of less than 5 minutes between the phone call coming to the Dream Center, then coming to us in the Division of Student Affairs for confirmation, working with DPS directly, identifying that no, it was not a federal agent trying to do a nice immigration enforcement, but actually an employment verification because we have students on this campus that in fact are trying to work for the federal agencies. And one of the requirements is that they verify their academic curriculum. And so with that said, we investigated, we spoke back to the student and informed them that no, it was not ICE, and they felt relieved. And so we wanted to close that loop, and that's a lot of what we're going to be doing on this campus, is that we want to make sure that we are aware, that we have compassion in the way we are approaching this with our students, but that we're going to be working directly with our police services, which will come in a bit, to really understand the impact that this is all having. Who here heard about the Dominguez Hills incident in the parking lot? 2 hands. We wanted to share this with you because this could also happen. There actually was immigration enforcement happening in the parking lot. They came to the parking lot of Dominguez Hills, and it wasn't done on the campus. They were staging to actually go into the community, where the police department actually approached them, and in less than 10 to 15 minutes, they were gone. But what that did, it caused a lot of, just like I was sharing with you, a lot of panic on the campus, that the police responded in such a way that they identified that wasn't necessarily an enforcement happening on campus. But social media spread so quickly that it caused them to panic a bit, and the response, although the response came from the university, they got knocked because it took them a long time to respond to the campus because the information had gone out. So what I say of that is the last 2 bullets that we want to make sure that you all understanding, that we need to verify all the information, and we urge our students that should something happen on this campus, that we try to make sure that we understand what's happening before we internally create mayhem on our institution, and it could cause severe impact. So with that said, I shared what we were experiencing in the Dream Center, but we want to hear from you all. If you can scan that QR code, there's one question. And the question is whether you or someone you know, or a classmate has experienced any of the things that I just shared, and if so, what are the things that are coming for you all for this fall? We've heard some anxiety building up around the fall, and so we want to make sure that we capture what you all are experiencing, so that as we go back and analyze all this information about our students' perspective, that we're really understanding the depth of the impact that this is having. So if y'all can answer that real quick, that'll be helpful to us. And as you do that, I'm going to toss it back to Tony so that we can have a conversation about the website.
Wait a few more seconds. I see people are typing away. as the rest continue to type away, I want to emphasize about the Cal State Dominguez Hills incident that took place, because I do think that that's the one incident that we have looked at. Just so that all of you know, we pay close attention to what's happening at other Cal State universities and other universities that are around us, because we believe that there's lessons to be learned if immigration enforcement happens to take place in any of the universities. One of the things that we did with that incident was to actually meet with the chief of police from Cal State Dominguez Hills. That's how detailed we're being with this situation, that we're going out and we're trying to find out as much information as possible to bring it back internally to the Department of Police Services so that we can understand and so that we can share internally with our team how the response was at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And there were some good things that happened with that response. But we want to ensure that when we are looking at these examples of what's going on, that we respond like the Department of Police Services from CSUN responds, not like any other police department in the Cal State system or any municipal departments, but like we respond internally. And so we learned a lot of lessons from that incident. And as Freddie was stating earlier, the person designated on our campus as the person who will literally respond if he's on campus to any immigration enforcement activities is the chief of police. He's the one that has been designated as the person that will lead the effort when it comes to engaging with immigration enforcement officers possibly being here on campus. The deputy chief will respond if our chief is not on campus. If the deputy chief and the chief are not on campus, it'll be one of our commanders, and so on and so forth. So there will be a response that takes place. But one of the things that I want to make sure that I reemphasize, and will continue to say this as we go through the presentation, is the immediate communication. All of you are on social media. One of you or some of you might hear of something happening before we do. And that's why it's so important that we are here today to ask you to please communicate that information back to us as quickly as possible. You might not feel, some of you might not feel comfortable calling the Department of Police Services directly, but we do have other partners that are working in collaboration with us to ensure that that information gets to us as quickly as possible. But that's another reason why we're here, because we want for all of you to see who's working not only behind the scenes, but who's working, leading the effort from the Department of Police Services, so that you can see that there's a huge interest on our part to ensure that we are working very closely, not at a distance, but very closely with our partners and with all of you to ensure that we're doing the best that we can to respond to these issues if they happen to be here on our campus. The Immigration Enforcement Information and Service Resource Hub. As Freddie also stated earlier, we really need for all of you to go into that website. There's a lot of frequently asked questions that we put together that I think provide a lot of guidance. There's other information there that is also very critical for all of us to know. One of the things that we're doing within the Department of Police Services is that we're going through a similar presentation, but we have other specific points that we're addressing with our entire team so that everybody knows what we're doing on campus, but that we also address with the leadership of the chief and his expectations as to how our department will respond if something happens to, again, take place on our campus. So that website is very important for us, all of us to know. You'll also find information on judicial warrant and administrative warrants. And that's also another piece of information that is very important for all of you to get familiarized with. There's also the resources from Carecen that we have also discussed last semester and this semester as well. Freddie, I think you're gonna have to help me with this. Oh, it's the computer. So this is one of the charts that we put together last semester. We thought that it would be very helpful for everyone to understand what the process of communication would be if there were to be immigration enforcement on this campus. As you have seen, I'm sure all of you have seen on social media and other media outlets that situations with immigration enforcement officers can quickly turn. They can become aggressive and they can become a whole different scenario very quickly. So again, for us, it is very important that we address these situations very carefully as a campus, that we ensure that, and I say this again because of a personal experience of mine, but also because of what I have been seeing, and again, what you have seen on social media. Physically intervening can be something that when we see what's going on, I think some of us might have that as the first initial response. But we have to be very careful, and we have to really think about what it is that we're doing in order to protect not only ourselves, but our entire campus. So you'll see that the contact DPS, that's the number that we're asking everybody to contact if something were to happen on campus, or if you happen to see something on social media that you would like to communicate with us, please call that number. Another reason why the Department of Police Services has been assigned as the department who will be dealing with immigration enforcement is because that's the only department that's open all year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our dispatchers is another critical team within our department that have also been briefed on how they should approach the situation if they happen to get a call regarding immigration enforcement. So as you can see, we're going down the line in terms of the department staff so that we can all be prepared to assist if anything were to happen on campus. I will give you a moment so that you can read this question, because this is the one question that when we began last semester putting this presentation together, I would say this was one of the most important questions that came up from our campus community. So I'll give you a minute or so you can read that. So that answer still stands today. Nothing has changed from last semester. This is not just a Department of Police Services here at CSUN, but this is throughout the entire system. This is the stance of police departments within the Cal State University system. Next slide. So as I've been stating, if enforcement agents appear on campus with unmarked uniforms, how should the campus respond? You know, as Freddie stated earlier as well, we have to remember that what we've been seeing on social media and again on our media outlets is that they look different. They come out of vehicles that are unmarked. They come with no badges at times, no name tags. So there's a lot of different agencies working together that unfortunately are coming out and enforcing immigration enforcement that are not being done how we were told it was going to be done. And so we have to be very aware. We have to know that it can look different. It might not be somebody that has a uniform that looks and has immigration enforcement. So again, immediately contact the department manager. If you have a manager, if you're working as a student as well, you know, this is another piece that's very important. Some of you work in different areas, and we want to ensure that you also understand that there's support within those areas as well for you to communicate with your supervisor. And again, along with your supervisor, call the Department of Police Services as quickly as possible. Next slide. I think this one's yours, Chief.
Thanks, Tony. Good morning, everybody. Can CSUN prevent federal immigration enforcement officers from coming on campus or attending public campus events? The answer to that is yes and no. Okay. CSUN's a public university, so it's important to remember that some portions of the university remain available to every member of the community, regardless of whether they work for the federal government or not. Some portions of the campus are considered non-public. Those spaces would require a warrant to enter. And then some spaces are mixed, where there's a portion of the location that is open to the public, but then maybe behind a door or a desk, that's considered non-public space. So it's important to remember that. The questions that usually come up are things like faculty offices, classrooms, library, rooms in the library for studying, all those. Once those doors are closed and they're being used for non-public, that becomes non-public, and no, they're not able to be used or entered by ICE agents without a warrant. Okay. Housing remains a major also. Those are private spaces, and so those also are considered non-public. Okay, next one. What should I do if a federal immigration enforcement officer attempts to enter the office or other private or limited area space to talk to or arrest a student? The best thing to do is, as quickly as possible, if you're in a space where you have a manager or a full-time employee, refer the matter to them, let the immigration officer know that you do not have the authority to speak for the campus. And as quickly as possible, of course, as Tony said, contact DPS. Can federal immigration enforcement officers enter campus office or resident halls without consent from those who occupy? We already touched on that. The answer is no, not without permission or a warrant. What should I do if an officer attempts to give me a warrant? Again, same thing, just say you're not able to accept that. Contact DPS if you're not comfortable contacting DPS. Use one of the other resources that can call us. But the bottom line is it will come to us. We are the designated department. And so if you're comfortable, I would highly recommend that you contact us directly so we can respond as quickly as possible. Got that one, Brent? Yep.
All right, y'all. What you just saw is what we're presenting to the faculty and the staff. So those lights were for that, including the one for student employees. So who here works in an office on campus? Raise your hand if you work on campus. A handful of you. So that's what we want you all to understand, that our protocol for your supervisors is that they need to work with the manager and then directly call DPS. That is if they come in wanting to show a warrant. If they're coming in forcefully, what do you think you need to do? Call DPS immediately. So I think at the core of all of this, and this is if you are walking from one place to the next on campus as a student, if you are engaging on campus and you see agents coming to campus, what should you be doing? Contact DPS. What is the DPS number, y'all? 2111 if you're in a landline. But what are the first numbers? 677. So 818-677-2111. You should have them on your phone. What other number gets you to DPS if you're on campus and you're in an emergency? 911. So if you are on campus and you dial 911, that automatically gets you to DPS. Did you know that? Well, now you do. You can also text 911 and it will dispatch directly to DPS. So if you are on campus and you text 911, DPS will automatically be responding to you. So those are things that we want you to be aware of and actually share with your peers as the representatives of Associated Students. So what this slide is showing, who here has seen the red cards or mention of the red cards? Those red cards can be found in AS and they're across the entire USU and various campus departments. Grab one. I think it's handy for you beyond immigration enforcement. It really speaks to, should you be engaged in any sort of engagement with an agent, you all have rights. The Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment allow you to really understand some of the things that we're talking about. So we want to make sure that you read the red card. In the back, it's in English, and in the back, across the campus, they're all in Spanish. The Dream Center has these red cards in 21 languages. So if you want a card with a different language, the Dream Center has those as well. So make your way over to the Dream Center. Now, I'm not gonna go through these slides, but there are two different documents that these agents are coming with. One that is actually signed by the judge, which actually will allow them to arrest someone with a warrant. And one that it says that it's actually implemented by removal of deportation. That doesn't have the same rights as a judicial warrant. The QR code at the bottom sends you to a CSU training. It's a 21-minute module that allows you to understand everything that we're going through, but actually explains these warrants in depth. And so if you're interested in going through this training, we'll leave the presentation. Actually, no, we will not leave the presentation because we are updating the presentation as we go through with each session. But if you go onto the website, that training video is linked on the website. So you can go onto the CSU website. One thing to mention is that we're having these presentations, but the rest of the system is also doing the same. And so the CSU has developed this training website. And so we want to make sure that you understand that the website is available for you all as well. Now, subpoenas. Who knows what a subpoena is? Go for it. An information release form, ultimately. So those documents, there's one place on campus if a subpoena is issued for a student, and that is the Office of the Vice President for Student Affairs. So that is the only place that actually receives the subpoenas. And that's really good for you all to know. Where's the Office of the Vice President for Student Affairs? I'm asking a lot of questions because our AS leaders need to know. All right. Valero Hall. Do you all know where Valero Hall is at? I see some head nods. Valero Hall is at the end of the walkway, all the way towards the back of the campus, passing Bahamian Hall. So if you go down Cleary Walk, you'll get to Valero Hall. All right, so with that, there's one last slide that we want to share with you all. If immigration enforcement actually comes to our campus, we're hoping that it doesn't, but we're preparing for the worst. And if they do show up, we know that it will cause a lot of emotions to our staff, and for our students, we know that will happen too. We have resources on this campus that we want you all to understand, that the resources are here and they're available for you all. University Counseling Services, where is that one located? Bahamian Hall, great. That is in Bahamian Hall. We want to make sure you use that. Caresen and the AS Legal Clinic. So AS provides legal support services as well. And Caresen is our service legal provider that provides support for our students, faculty, and staff and their immediate families. So if you all, as students, have family members who might be impacted by the immigration issues, you can get support from Caresen. We have currently 4 legal representatives, attorneys and paralegals that are supporting our campus, just because of the sheer number of cases that have come in. All of the other campuses have two paralegals or lawyers. We have 4. Some of the other campuses are supporting our team. And we have the Dream Center. So the Dream Center is here to support our students, but we also have the Resource Hub. There is a link down there. We have rights.us. There's little clip art videos that go through some of the conversations that we're having in a 2 to 3 minute video. And I think it's really important that if you go through that website, it's critical. Now with that, that is the end of the presentation. We are going to be having you all reflect after Tony says a few words, but there's another QR code that's asking you all, how are you feeling about our immigration enforcement process? We want to capture what you all are after our presentation, how you all are feeling about the presentation itself, and how we as an institution are thinking about enforcement, should that be on our campus.
So last week, there was a good question that came up at one of our sessions regarding parking spaces on campus after we discussed the Dominguez Hills incident. To all of you, do you think our parking spaces are public or non-public? Who says public? Raise your hand. Who says that they are non-public? Very good. On our campus, parking spaces are non-public spaces. At Dominguez Hills, unfortunately, when the incident happened, the parking spaces were designated as public spaces. So I want to make sure that all of you knew that, because it's another specific point that I think is very important for all of us to know as well. A reminder to all of you, this is a commuter campus. Most of you, if not all of you, will drive on campus, will park on campus. Just take a moment to look around. I know some of you, if not all of you, like myself last week, were running late to class. And so that's when we just want to close that door in the car and start running, and we truly forget that there's a lot going on around us. Another thing that came up last week, there was a young lady who was talking to me after the presentation that was fearful, was stressed out, and was scared. And the reason why was because she said that she didn't know the campus at all, the geography of the campus. Get to know the campus. There's maps, there's an app, the CSUN app, where you have access to an electronic map. Know where you are on campus, because some of you might be very good at knowing where the halls are and where the other facilities are, but some of your classmates might not be. And that's another resource that might not seem like a big deal, but it is a big deal. When we're dealing with immigration enforcement on this campus, if it were to happen and you call dispatch, the more information you can provide, the better response will be there. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that came up last week that I would like to share with you. Oh, yes. We are dealing with a real situation here. You know, we have heard from students that are fearful of driving on the bus. We have heard from students who are having second thoughts about coming on campus. And so the last piece that I will say has to do with flexibility. Flexibility has been one of the questions that has come up in our informational sessions. Flexibility when it comes to how we will be able to support our students, how we all will be able to support them. Remember that you might be coming across classmates that last semester were performing well in the classroom. They were doing really good, but they're having a different experience this semester. So the message is for all of us to be empathetic, to be caring, and to be flexible, and to be in spaces where we can support one another, we can guide one another, and to understand that we do have rights. And for all of you to be able to know what those rights are in case you need to be of support to any of your classmates. Again, thank you so much for having us here this morning. It's a pleasure to be here, and I know there's probably a lot of questions that all of you might have, and so we'll turn it over to all of you now. Thank you very much.
Questions?
Oh, thank you so much for the thorough presentation. We'll move on to questions. Senator Gavino.
You mentioned of cross-departmental presentations that are being done. You said 9 in the first 4 weeks. How many of these presentations are centered for our students? Has there been any collaboration with new student orientation over the summer? Is there any planned collaboration for University 100 classes, et cetera?
Perfect. So there are 3 presentations that are currently scheduled for students in the next 3 weeks, and I'm going to read them off. But if you go to the QR code on the Immigration Enforcement website, on the left, there is a section. If you're on the phone, it's actually just a scroll down. But if you're on the website, some of you might be. On the left, there's a tab for trainings and workshops. You can find them there, and actually you can register. The first one is on August 29th from 2 to 3 p.m. All of them are virtual, by the way. So you can log in and just listen. 2 to 3. On Wednesday, September the 3rd, from 3 to 4 p.m. And on Thursday, September the 11th, from 2 to 3 p.m. So those are three that are scheduled for our students. We presented to the University Student Union and those students. We have not reached out to the University 100 faculty. We have 96 actual U100 classes. That is a lot of classes, y'all, which is great because that means that our students are actually transitioning in with understanding of concept. As presentations come up, we will be updating the website. We only did up to the first 4 weeks. I highly doubt that's going to be it. We're going to continue those. So yes, so we're partnering with as many presentations that we have. The other thing that I want to mention, we're actually meeting with the advisors on Wednesday to go over the presentation with all of the advisors. So for you all as students, in your email that the provost and Dr. Watkins sent on Friday, it told you that you should communicate with your faculty, but the other resource that you have to your disposal is your advisors. So as you're communicating with students, and if students are not comfortable speaking with their faculty, they need to go to their advisors for support. And the advisors are going to be trained on this as well.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions? Senator Gavino?
Yeah, that is a lot of University 100 classes. That's great. I would maybe just posit as a recommendation, maybe being able to record a session and maybe sending out to faculty in University 100 classes, because there's a lot of new students that are coming in, and not just University 100, also our transfer class. I think it's University 301 or some 300.
301.
I think it would be better to have someone there so that way questions can be answered. But if not, I think the next best thing would be something virtual that could be presented to them. Beyond just the immigration hub, that's a great resource as well, but being able to see it, I'm sure would make a lot more students comfortable, or at least aware of the situation. I have another question, but if you want to bounce to someone else first.
No,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so you may have heard about a Senate bill that's in the legislature right now called Senate Bill 98. I forgot the title, but essentially it is notifying students of immigration enforcement. It started as a bill that was centered towards K through 12 schools, but then was amended to include the California State University system. I'm trying to find the text right now.
What's the Senate bill number?
It's Senate Bill 98. It's Senator Perez was the person. It's co-sponsored by the Cal State Student Association, UC Student Association, Student Senate for California Community Colleges, and the California Faculty Association. I'm trying to find the text. Sorry. Yeah, okay, right here. I'll just read a portion of the text. Obviously, you could look over it in your own time. Each campus of the California Community Colleges of the California State University, or each of the independent institution of higher education that is qualifying institution as defined in, and then there's a subsection of the bill, shall notify all students, faculty, staff, and other campus community members who work on campus when the presence of immigration enforcement is confirmed on campus to the fullest extent consistent with state and federal law. So the K through 12 provision in the bill kind of talks about this school safety plan that's required for schools to submit if they're charter school, if they wish to be a charter school, if they receive state funds. But the California State University provision is obviously a little more flexible to be however the university wishes to notify its students should the bill come into effect. Although this would be not, it would be essentially a mandate to continue public funding if this were to pass. So I was just wondering if there were anybody looking into kind of this legislation, how it would be enforced, how broadly it would be enforced, any plan for that at all?
So we're aware of the bill and its content. We're watching it because at this time, the campus will not make a notification of using its emergency system. That wouldn't be appropriate at this moment, but we're going to have to wait and see how that bill comes out. It's got a couple of more levels to go through before it's complete. So it would be kind of premature to say what we're doing, but we're absolutely watching it.
Senator Gavino?
Okay, thank you. Are there any systems other than like the direct emergency alert system that you all are looking into, or is it just waiting to see if it passes the legislature for now?
Well, we certainly have multiple ways of communicating to the students. Generally speaking, in an emergency situation, DPS has its own system so that we can get it out faster, but the campus has its ability to go ahead and send out messages if appropriate. Okay.
Senator Abrams?
I'm so sorry if I missed this information, but you briefly mentioned. Let's try this again. You briefly mentioned like how to support the students specifically. And the reason I'm asking is because I do have an on-campus job. I'm teaching supplemental instruction, and I wanted to know if there was any specific policy for cushioning in terms of specifically absences that have to do with being afraid to be on campus? What, if any, what kind of policies are there, and where could I find that information?
So there are no policies. However, the communication that has gone out from the provost is to work with your chair and the dean of the college. Does that work? Okay, perfect. Yes.
I think we want the students to know that that message has been gotten to all of the department chairs. The department chairs are expected to talk to faculty within the department about precisely this question. So there's a lot of conversation we had. It's a chairs retreat over the last couple of weeks, and the faculty are now coming back to the space here. Those faculty communicating with them. And in some ways, this is no different than any other circumstance a student might encounter that prevents them from being able to come to campus. The basic strategy is to talk with the course instructor. It is more than just not coming. We also want to continue to make progress in the course. But if a student doesn't find out to be productive, go to your advisor. Okay. If you have assistance connecting, you can call our office. There's no assist with that. Big rushing.
Are there any further questions? Senator Gavino.
Yeah, so there's a story in the news more recently about a LA Metro driver, Sean Broadbent, who was terminated by LA Metro for essentially speaking out against immigration enforcement on behalf of the department, which probably wasn't something he should have done, but essentially saying that there were bus drivers in the LA Metro system that would refuse service or close the doors on masked, unidentified agents or ICE agents, immigration agents. I was just wondering what the policy on CSUN parking shuttles, the shuttle that goes between the Metro Link and campus, what's the policy on that if they were to be approached by a immigration enforcement officer or pulled over? Or would it be similar to the housing policy or, yeah?
Okay, so I hadn't heard that story. So we haven't directed our drivers at all. So thank you for giving us something to consider. I think, we would expect our drivers to immediately notify us if there was a similar situation. Let me just say this, if they can't identify who's coming in, and they have a mask and they should respond as you would normally would with that kind of situation and try to get away from that situation if they don't know who they are. Our buses are not public. They're third-party rentals, so they may have other rules to look at. So thank you for giving me that information. We'll give it some thought and we'll put some more into that. Okay, very much. I see a question over here.
Oh, Senator Quiroga.
Hi, yes. So I know you mentioned you have many different departments you're going to give these presentations to. And I know you mentioned in the presentation something about the housing and the rules of there. Are you going to housing also to give this presentation to or no?
So all of our directors in each space has been briefed. They are instructed to coordinate with their individual departments. Now, we haven't thought about housing in general. That's a conversation that we'll have and see if that's a need.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Perfect. I wanted to ask specifically Chief Fernandez, with all the issues going on and how we listed the concerns about unmasked or plainclothes officers, there might also be a conflation from students about seeing DPS services on campus with other federal agencies or enforcement groups. Is there any plan or intention of developing that rapport with the student body so as to prevent those concerns?
Well, one of the main reasons that we're meeting here is to try to get that message out. If you can think of other ways that we should do that. I will tell you that Tony and myself met with every one of my police officers and the dispatchers, and we've had a long discussion regarding expectations of working with federal immigration officers. And as it said in the other slide, we do not interact, we do not enforce, we will not support, we won't point at buildings, we won't point people out. When we respond, we will come for the very fact of finding out what their purpose is and letting them know that they're not welcome on this campus. Okay. And specifically, our officers have been given instruction to be very cognizant of optics. So they're not going to be overly friendly. They're going to be all business. Okay. And they know that. We learned this as a valuable lesson from Dominguez Hills because the officers there were briefed to be very cognizant of how their demeanor is with immigration enforcement officers. And I believe that worked to their advantage because the officer that responded started checklist in his head. You know, I'm not going to shake hands. I'm going to ask what they're doing. I'm going to get that information, and then I'm going to report back to my chief. So that's the message we're putting out there with these almost 15 meetings. And if there's more that needs to be done, just let me know. But know that DPS will not interact with ICE other than responding to if they come to on the campus and to find out what's going on. I hope that answered your question. Okay.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Senator Umano?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if there's any policy for ICE, CBP, or DHS participating in any career fairs here on campus.
What I'll tell you is that we've been working, before this all happened, we have been working closely with our Career Center. Anytime that federal agents are interested in coming back, we assess the situation and work with them. Know that we have criminology as a department on this campus, and so we're working closely with our academic colleagues too, to ensure that if they're planning an event where these agents are happening, that we communicate with the Dream Center so that the Dream Center is aware that it's happening. We have moved any federal agency from any sort of USU complex events to ensure that that doesn't happen. Just to give you context, last year, I know that we had several presentations that were from the criminology department where we worked with that agency. They came in plain clothes, and they did not come with their patrol op vehicle. So those are some of the things that we're working on to ensure that we're diffusing any confusion, which I'm glad you raised that point. But it's been way before this for the same reason.
Thank you. Are there any further questions?
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you so much. Senator Dowd?
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. Senator Garcia?
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. We will be moving on to open forum. Open forum is intended as an opportunity for any member of the public to address the Associated Student Senate regarding any issues affecting CSUN students. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each to speak. Please sign in using the clipboard for minute recording purposes. Is there anyone here for open forum?
Good morning, all. My name is Susan King. I am the Assistant Athletic Director for External Relations. It is a pleasure to see all of you this morning, and welcome to the first day of classes. Our Athletic Director, Mary Beth, had the intention of being here. She had to step out, but she sends her best wishes, and she's very excited about the relationship that we're building with Associated students. This is the first of many Senate meetings that you will begin seeing an athletics present. We will be with you at least once a month to kind of fill you in on what's going on campus, make sure you know what's going on with our student athletes, and also create opportunities for us to collaborate more frequently. You will also see us at every single one of your farmers markets, along with some of our teams as well. We understand the reach and strength of AS, and that working through AS and with our students is the best way to be a larger part of our community. I am going to let you know that I do have a love for this body. I did serve once as the senator for the College of Business quite some time ago. And so I'm extra glad that we're working with you. I'm going to let you know that our soccer seasons are in full swing. And I'm also here to introduce to you Aquiles Montoya, our women's volleyball head coach.
Hi there. Good morning. Yeah, just wanted to let you all know we would love your support. Really excited about our program and athletics as a whole. But a really cool opportunity first week of classes is that we have a opening tournament this weekend, and it's in the Premier America Credit Union, and on Friday it's a red out. Completely free if you wear a red t-shirt, doesn't have to say CSUN. And it's just a great opportunity to really start this week off with school camaraderie. And it's a lot of students that are just like you guys coming from all over, a lot of California kids, but people from all over the West Coast, even got someone from Oklahoma, and really diverse in what they're studying, where they're from. And so it's a really cool representation of it all. And we love your support. So, yeah, thank you guys.
And please note, all CSUN students are free at all of our games on campus. So red out, wear your red shirts for any guests, and they'll get them free. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else here for open forum? Oh, it's Daniel. Oh, hey, Daniel.
Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm the marketing manager for Associated Students. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about the events that we're having this week, in case you didn't know. The welcome celebration is going to be happening tomorrow and Wednesday in front of the library from 10 to 2. Hopefully you're tabling there for leadership, but be there. Really welcome the students back to the start of the fall semester. And then on Friday, we're having our Matador movie night event out in front of the library where we're showing Mean Girls. So wear pink, come hang out, connect with the students. But I just want to make sure that was on your radar for our events that were happening this week. So thank you.
Gracias. Is there anyone else here for open forum? You guys can form a line if multiple of you are here for open forum.
Oh, sorry. This is cool. So I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm honored to be considered for the role of co-senator for the College of Health and Human Development, alongside my co-senator, Mr. Umana, great senator, by the way, to ensure that all health and human development students are represented and supported through us senators. My name is Dulce Maria Contreras, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a first generation Mexican American. So that speech about immigration services and everything was really touching and amazing to hear, and I hope to convey that to other students. I am a junior majoring in environmental and occupational health with the option in industrial hygiene, and I am minoring in public health. And I just wanted to say that with the Associated Students, I am most interested in collaborating across different fields in health and human development, speaking for these students, their voices, and making sure they love CSUN, because I am a tour guide, and as a tour guide, I persuade students to come to CSUN, but I also want to make sure they're happy to stay at CSUN. So through that, I'm happy to do that as a AS senator. But thank you for considering me. And I just want to quickly introduce myself and show a face to perhaps a lot of things you've seen my name in around campus. So thank you again for your time and listening to me. Thank you.
So, hi everyone. I am Gunateja Gali, and I am a sophomore majoring in business management here at CSUN. So, last semester, I had the privilege of serving as the senator of David Nazarian College of Business and Economics. and I currently serve as the Vice President of Scholarships and Awards at Delta Sigma Pi, a professional business fraternity on campus. So these experiences allow me to work closely with the students and plan initiatives, and then better understand how financial and organizational decisions shape our community. So I'm excited to serve as the Assistant Chair of Finance because I'm passionate about ensuring that student resources are managed responsibly and fairly while also helping student organizations access the funds they need to thrive. So my background in business management has given me an appreciation for financial accountability, and I want to bring that perspective to AS. So during my term, my goal is to support the finance committee in making transparent and accessible decisions and expand opportunities for students to get involved and making funding process easier to navigate. I look forward with collaborating with the finance committee and fellow student leaders to make sure our resources have the greatest possible impact on the CSUN community. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shin Gupta. I'm a political science major here at CSUN. It is currently my second year, but I have junior standing. Within my major and on campus, I've been fortunate enough to be very involved. I currently serve as the president of the Political Science Student Association, as well as the communications coordinator and interim vice president of the Alpha Lambda Delta Academic Honor Society's chapter here at CSUN. I also had the opportunity to serve as a member of Lobby Corps last semester, which really helped strengthen my passion for advocacy and student engagement. Beyond that, I work closely with the Pre-Law Association and the Department of Social and Behavioral Sciences to organize seminars and workshops for our students in the upcoming school year. I also serve as a philanthropy director at Kappa Kappa Gamma, where I focus on outreach and community nonprofits and vendors to create successful fundraising events. I applied to be the chair of outreach and recruitment because I've always been drawn to building community and creating spaces where people feel connected and empowered. Ever since at freshman orientation, I knew I wanted to become a part of AS because it is a place where I believe I can help enrich my peers' college experience while helping them discover new opportunities and career pathways. During my term, one of my goals is to collaborate with the DEI chair to host activities and events that highlight how diverse and inclusive AS is, while also making sure that AS is seen as an accessible and welcoming organization for students and clubs. I'd like to strengthen outreach by partnering up with cultural clubs, student organizations, and even local high schools to inspire future Matadors to see themselves in leadership positions within AS. I'm looking forward to be working with the amazing AS team and seeing what we're able to accomplish together this year. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emily Tourette. This is my fourth year here at CSUN. I am currently double majoring with economics and business management, as well as a minor in gender women studies. I'm here for the role of chair of finance. Um, for my In my past, I've worked alongside accountants at Fact Professional, as well as I've been an office admin for the past 3 years. I work alongside with finance, constantly communicating with people, as well as I'm also the president of the CSUN women's rugby team. I've been the president for the past 2 years, and there I work with with the finances, and um, here at CSUN, I'm a first gen in my family, and a lot of the times I felt lost or I didn't know the support that I had here. There's a strong community here at CSUN, and I've noticed that AS helps students who work their way in college for the next 4 years. And I just want to be a part of that help. And here I noticed that the chair of finance is the best fitting for me. Speaking on my past, I work well under pressure. For the past 2 years, as president, I understand how demanding it can be working with finances, and I also I work well with others, and I wanted to mention that my goal here to be the chair of finance is to expose AS as much as possible. I want student dollars to go back to students because at the end of the day, all we're here for is to help the students here in this community, and that is my goal here. I'm a quick learner, and I'm really here just to help. I want to help as much as I possibly can. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Ingram. I am a fourth-year political science major here at CSUN with a business law minor. I'm honored to be applying for the position of senator for the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences, and I deeply look forward to it. I have been extremely passionate about on-campus work as I've previously worked with BSM here on campus, that's Black Scholars Matter, to kind of bring more Black students into the CSU system as a whole, but specifically CSUN. Unfortunately, was a recent victim of the Eaton fire, so I really wanted to call attention to that matter. But also on top of that, I have run the CSUN 2029 unofficial page for incoming freshmen for the past 3 years. And I really, really wanted to get involved with CSUN AS to get these new students informed about these matters, especially when it comes to ICE and immigration enforcement. So working with CSUN AS really closely to kind of keep these incoming students informed and kind of negate that fear that they might, or nervousness that they might be feeling at this time. So yeah, I really look forward to working with all of you closely and really am passionate about getting involved on campus, especially as the senator of the College of Behavioral Sciences. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else here for open forum? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll move over to our reports, starting with mine. Good morning, everyone. It is so nice to see you all again. I'm really happy to be able to start my senior year with all of you guys, and I am so excited for this upcoming year, and I'm so excited to see how you guys will all grow. But I just am so happy to be here with you all. Starting off, we've held a few interviews for some committee positions, and we're still trying to arrange other interviews for other committee positions as well as Senate positions. We've gotten close to 100 applicants just this summer alone. So it's taken us a little bit longer to interview just because it involves a lot of other entities to help choose best qualified candidates. We also hosted CSU LA, Cal Poly Pomona, and CSU San Bernardino about 2 weeks ago to tour our campus. We gave them all of our resources as well as information on what our campus has. And we will be arranging campus visits for a CSUN team to tour some SoCal schools, including Cal Poly Pomona, Cal State LA, Cal State Channel Islands, and Cal State San Bernardino. So if any of you guys are interested in touring any specific campus, please let Vice President Gimeniano Aragon, Chair of Legislative Affairs Rosales, or myself know. It is a great opportunity to kind of get to know the other campuses, build some CS unity, and just see what we can bring over to our campus as well. Vice President Gimeniano Aragon and I met with President Beck and Dr. Watkins on our goals for this year, as well as expectations we had not only for ourselves and the organization, but what we expected from our CSUN admin as well. So we're really excited for the collaboration and the hope that we can get President Beck and Vice President Watkins to more AS events. I attended the CSAC retreat at Southwestern College in Chula Vista. It was a fantastic reminder of how our state emphasizes equitable opportunities to pursue higher education. We received various updates on our grant programs as well as changes that we are currently in discussion on, including the DSIG grant program, which allows our undocumented students to get grants through some volunteer hours, kind of rearranging how that program could look and how it can better serve our undocumented students. I also brought back a lot of different goals for our campuses. If any of you guys would like further information on what we discussed or any projects that you guys would like to hear about that I think would be great for CSUN and you would like to collaborate with me on, please let me know. I also had the opportunity to present on some of our campus's resources with CSAC, as well as Southwestern College and Compton College. It was an amazing example of what student leaders can truly do to serve their students. So thank you to everyone involved in the projects of last year. Literally the day after, we attended CS Unity, where during our Legislative Affairs Committee, Chair of Legislative Affairs Rosales was voted in to serve as the vice chair for the committee for this upcoming year. Yay! CS Unity was an incredible conference. Thank you to everyone that attended. I hope you all learned amazing things. And we had the opportunity to learn so much about the CSU system, as well as how we can continue to improve the system, as well as our own campuses. And we kind of just had a re-emphasized message on how important it is to be more connected with the CSUs and how important it is to make sure that we are all in constant communication, because with everything that's happening federally, with everything that's happening statewide, it's really important that students are banded together regardless of the situation. So I'm excited about what CSSA is going to be doing this year. I have been selected to be part of the athletic director's search committee, so I have been in back-to-back interviews for the last week. We have amazing candidates, and I'm really excited for who we end up picking. We held both AS Development Day and AS Leadership Training after CS Unity, so thank you to everyone that attended. If you guys weren't able to attend and need that information sent to you, please let myself or Vice President Jimeniano Aragon know. I also had the honor of speaking at the President's Welcome Address, where I found out CSUN has applied to be recognized as a California Black Serving Institute and an Asian American and Native American Pacific Islander Serving Institute. Our campus is also going to now be home to a little over 37,000 students this coming year. So our enrollment is up by, I think it's about 5,000 students. So that's very exciting. It was also shared with us that Andrew Agnost, the CEO of Autodesk, has made a donation of $20 million to our newly named Andrew J. Agnost College of Engineering and Computer Science. So that's very exciting, and I'm very excited to see what the college gets to have. I also had the opportunity to attend the Autodesk Technology Engagement Center ribbon cutting alongside Senator Dominguez and Senator Umana. It was amazing to not only tour the building, but to get the opportunity to meet students from various departments and clubs, such as our American Society of Engineers, Formula SA or Matador Motorsports, and our Human Powered Vehicle team. It's amazing to see all of the effort and dedication that are put into our senior projects, and I'm really excited to see them this coming year. That's the end of my report, but just a quick announcement. Please sign up for Welcome Week. Please. It is a great opportunity for all of you to connect with the student body and become friendly faces that the students will be able to connect AS with. And also, it's the first week of classes. Good luck. Please make friends, and please don't be shy about introducing yourselves as student leaders. It's always a great resource for the students in your classes to know who their student leaders are. And that is the end of my report. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I will move on to Vice President Jimeniano Aragon's report.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fall semester. I had a great time during Development Day and AS leadership training, and I am looking forward to working with everyone this year. During the August Personnel Board meeting, we approved the posting of applications for a teacher position for the AS Children's Center, as well as 4 sports clubs coaches. That's for hockey, volleyball, archery, and baseball. We attended the California State Student Association August plenary and CS Unity. I sat on System-Wide Affairs Committee where we discussed and presented issues from all CSU campuses that are concerning at the state level. Some areas of concern included protection to undocumented students and international students, the effects of budget cuts, such as the limited number of sections per class and programs shutting down, as well as affordability and housing. I am so proud of all student leaders from CSUN who went to CS Unity. They were actively engaging and participating and connecting with others. Kiri and I conducted interviews for applicants in different positions. We have 4 approvals of appointments for today. I want to remind everyone that if you would like to ask or comment for a certain applicant, you can do that during our discussion time for each motion. And any questions that you may have, President Saravia and I will do our best to answer. President Saravia and I met with the CSUN IT department. We discussed with Ron Phillip, Ryan Conlog, Helen Henrik, and Chris Olson on initiatives for this year and possible ways of collaborating. They will be presenting technology resources on our following Senate meeting. And we were able to collaborate with CSUN navigators for tabling during Welcome Week, which that is today and tomorrow. We met with President Beck and Dr. Watkins for our monthly check-ins, which served as an introductory meeting and discussion on campus-wide initiatives, such as the opening of new buildings on housing and the Autodesk Technology Engagement Center. We talked about our goals for the year and some opinions and concerns that students are having when coming back or starting their journey at CSUN. I met with the RHA president, Christian Loza, where we discussed on ideas and areas of collaboration between student housing and AS. We provided AS merch to give away to students who were moving in early, so that was very nice and very fun. We met with Dr. Shelly Reles Bischoff, which she explained to us that her work is related to studying housing at the MIC. So a little bit of details that we talked during the meeting was that due to a government grant, CSUN was able to provide affordable housing by having an equitable application process. We also advocated for improving communication between the MIC and students involved in Greek life regarding Meet the Greeks and the recruitment process. We met with the Career Center and we explored some ways to come up together to represent student leaders in their events. They will also be presenting during Senate, so please have some ideas ready in which you would like to collaborate with them. I attended the Autodesk Technology Engagement Center ribbon cutting and grand opening celebration where I met the Autodesk CEO. So please make use of all of these opportunities. They are great for networking and connecting with clubs and organizations. Your invites were in your CSUN emails, so sometimes they might go to your personal emails, but we will try to give all of those opportunities to your AS emails. But please sign up to these opportunities. They are great. I worked with Denise Ibarra to finalize the Welcome Week events, so you already know what we're going to have during this first 2 weeks, as well as we filmed with the AS marketing department, the 7 giveaway videos, which that was crazy, and the weather was insane. But students will have the opportunity to win prizes by finding a hidden envelope during the 2 weeks of Welcome Week. Senators, remember to sign up to 4 office hours per week. Failure to accomplish this will result in recorded absences. Remember to be friendly and welcoming to all matadors. If you have any questions or are unable to fulfill this, please let me know, and that way we can work out another week for tabling. Okay, some reminders. I will be sending out the form for the Senate and BP check-ins. So just as a reminder, that's going to be a form that you have to fulfill before we have our 101s. The due date will be September 5th, so that's going to be next week. Keep an eye out for an invitation for our 101s. That way you know when we're going to meet. And those meetings will be happening during week 3. Remember to send to Gabriela Miranda, our executive assistant, your availability for office hours. The deadline is going to be August 29, so this Friday. We understand that you may be moving some classes, so modifications are accepted through September 5th. But make sure you email your office hours by Friday. To the elected standing committee chairs, I will be sending out a doodle poll with your availability for council of chairs, which will be happening on week 2. So this will serve as a training to start our standing committee meetings on week 3. After Senate, we will be taking headshots. So if you're missing your headshot, please stay after Senate. Next week, there is no Senate meeting on Monday, but keep an eye out in your emails for communication on what needs to be accomplished and guidance for our goals for the week. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions on Vice President Jimeniano Aragon's report? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move past our Chief of Staff, our Chair of Finance, our Attorney General, our standing committees to our AS Executive Director, Vicki Allen's report.
Good morning. Good morning and okay. Let's see if this is a little bit better. It is. So, welcome to Fall 2025. I'm so excited to be here today for the first day of classes. I want us to pause a moment and reflect on what we were able to experience in the opening of this meeting. We had a presentation on CSUN's immigration enforcement resources. That speaks to this institution and one of the reasons why I'm happy to be back on this campus. Just hearing that we are the one institution in the California State University system that has a director of diversity, equity, inclusion as a civilian employee within our Department of Police Services really speaks to the commitment that this institution has in supporting our families that have mixed families and students who are undocumented. I wanted to also let you know that this last week, I was very pleased to meet with Julia Vargas, who is the director of the AS Legal Clinic. You, as the associated students, provides an incredible resource for our students that are dealing with immigration issues. Just this last year, we had over 225 CSUN students avail themselves of that resource, with immigration, tenant rights, and workers' rights being the primary issues that they are concerned about. I wanted to let you know that as a part of our AS Welcome Celebration, we will have Julia Vargas, the director of our AS Legal Services, on campus on Wednesday. So I would encourage you to share that information with students as well as direct them to our website where they can make an appointment to avail themselves of those services. I also wanted to let you know that we are in the process of working with Jeff Wigley, the faculty president, to replace Vita Ward, our faculty advisor. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, that appointment will be made because I do feel that that's a very important connection that we have with the university faculty, and we get very insightful information that will assist you in your role as senators and representatives of the CSUN community. Later on the agenda, you're going to have information about the audit committee. We are currently going through our financial audit, and this is an important part of our commitment to be transparent with what's going on with our organization financially. So when you get to that particular agenda item, if you have questions, I would encourage you to ask. Lastly, what I wanted to, I wrote notes all over the place. Just wanted to welcome you to the fall 2025 semester. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions on our executive director's?
Senator Arias.
Point of personal privilege.
Granted. Okay.
I'm so.
No worries.
The last thing I did want to let you know is that we will be having a message go out later today to our employees of the Associated Students that will talk about how we address immigration enforcement coming into any of our areas. So that communication will be going out to our employees as well as U.S. senators.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our University Advisor Asia Butler's report.
Good morning. Let's see, I think it's next week. Is next week? Is next week? Okay, sorry. Next week we have Meet the Clubs on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we're excited for that. Let's see, what else? The Fall Leadership Conference, that's going to be happening Saturday, September 27th. The theme for this year's conference is the Student Leadership Challenge. We're currently working with various campus partners to provide workshops and presentations. So I'm happy to see we may have a new chair of finance, because usually the chair of finance provides a presentation on AS finance related things. So we want to make sure we have that on the calendar. So an email will be going out today to organizations. The website's already been up to date for a couple weeks now. But that's basically what we're getting ready for, is just Meet the Clubs and the Fall Leadership Conference.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the University Advisor's report? I did have a question. Asia, is there any updates on when Meet the Greeks is going to be happening and the times and when that communication is going to be sent out to our frats and sororities?
Yeah, so Meet the Greeks has always been, always since I've been here. Whenever I've gone to Meet the Greeks, there's not a lot of students who actually show up. Who actually show up are active members. So we don't get a lot of students attending. So in recognizing that, I put together a survey, because I had previously talked with council presidents back in the spring and talked about Meet the Greeks, and they recognize that, right, it's not a well-attended event. So what do we need to do with this event to make it more successful, to get more students there? So I sent out a survey to chapter presidents, asking them, do they think the event is successful? Should we continue having the event? If we do continue having the event, what changes should we implement? Also, do they get any benefit out of the event? So I have that data. I'm going to be looking at that today. And then Wednesday, I emailed chapter presidents and let them know that I'm going to be hosting a meeting for chapter and council presidents to discuss the data and discuss, when we should possibly do the event, because students aren't showing up at 5 o'clock after they've just been to Meet the Clubs. And there was one of the current PHC chapter president had mentioned that for her group, last time they tabled during the springtime, they set up and only one student showed up, but that student they had already talked to at Meet the Clubs. So we're trying to identify like a better time or day or something where we could capture more students to attend. So meeting on Wednesday with chapter and council presidents to talk about it. But I have been, communicating with chapter and council presidents about it.
Thank you. Senator Basilio?
Those are all very good points. However, there is a budget allocated to Meet the Greeks, as we saw last semester. So I wanted to ask, if Meet the Greeks doesn't happen, what's gonna happen to that budget?
I would have to double check the AS budget, but typically for Meet the Greeks, I believe we pay for that out of the MIC. The recruitment fairs, I think that's usually Meet the Clubs, an RHA block party. So in the past, because Meet the Greeks, we would use the same setup. We didn't, when we had expenses like PPM charges us for, whatever they charge us for Meet the Greeks, we pay for that out of the MIC general fund. I don't believe that's paid for out of the AS annual budget.
Okay, thank you. Just another question. So is Meet the Greeks not happening this semester? Because
No, I never said that. I don't know how that started going around. I never said we were not doing Meet the Greeks.
I just wanted clarification on what communication is going out to the frats and sororities, just because recruitment for PHC at least and some of the multicultural sororities is happening within about less than 2 weeks. And I don't think that a week is appropriate time to coordinate an event such as Meet the Greeks. I was just asking for that clarification.
Yeah, a lot of, we collect all the recruitment calendars for our different chapters. And so, for example, I can't remember which one, but like IGC or USFC, like their bid days are either September 17th or September 25th, right? PHC has an earlier recruitment weekend. So, but IGC, USFC, they're a little bit later. So, in MPHC, these are like historically Black chapters, fraternities, sororities. They have varying different recruitment times, right? So I think and I think that's part of the conversation where it's like the timing of Meet the Greeks and when it happens. Is it benefiting one council over other councils? Is there a time that maybe all councils, that would work better for some councils than others? So that's why I want to have a conversation with the chapters about it to figure out like, when should we host this event to, that would benefit all chapters?
Okay, thank you. Is there any further questions? Senator Diaz.
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. If there are no further questions, we will move past our unfinished business into new business. Is there a motion for line item A? Anybody? Senator Diaz.
I motion to approve Emily Terrence for Chair of Finance.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Umana, is there any discussion? Vice President Jimeniano Aragon.
So once again, a reminder, I already sent the bios to you all on Friday. Hopefully you were able to review them. If not, you can pull them up right now. Any questions that you have, please do so right now, or comments.
Senator Basilio.
Yeah, a question for both of you. In her biography, the candidate mentions a goal to expose AS to clubs and orgs across campus. Was there a plan that stood out to you both to ensure that this is a feasible goal?
Vice President Jimeniano Aragon.
So something that we discussed, or she mentioned during her interview, was that she has been a president for her sport club for 2 years already. And something that she thought that we could improve on is the awareness that we can raise. So what she was talking about was having or conducting workshops for the leaders of those clubs, that they can have the awareness on how a supplemental funding request works. What are those items that they can get money from? What is not allowed? What are the timelines? And especially awareness on the fundings that we have. So for instance, she also mentioned that there is like not a lot of awareness of maybe philanthropy budget that we also have. So that's something that was really compelling when she was doing her interview, that she wants to expand awareness on the funding that we already have and how students can get access to that.
Just to add to that, it was also brought up about how the MIC has certain days, but what the candidate wants to do is have it be more consistent and have it be something that can happen a little bit more often, just because a lot of student leaders, because they're constantly changing in clubs and organizations, that information can end up getting lost if they change officers within the semester. So having workshops on how to access supplemental funding from AS that is a little bit more recurring to appeal to any clubs that might change officers within the semester. Senator Dominguez.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify. Last semester, Senator Basilio worked hard to change the codes for the Chief Justice to be able to address these concerns about clubs and how they can finance and the resources that they can get from AS as, like, for example, funding. And it seems like earlier we were told that the chair of finance gives presentations on budgets of AS. And so it seems like those are like the things that like the chair of finance should be focusing more on rather than seeing how to best like help clubs, because that's not really what they should be focusing on. And so one of my concerns is that the appointee may not have enough experience with AS and like how our funding works, like without and like yeah, just in general has no past experience on that. So like, how do you guys like want to go forward like to help her with that?
Vice President Emiliano Aragon.
Something that we also had in mind when we were thinking of who to appoint where, Guna has already been part of AS, and he's going, of course, Guna and Emily are going to be working together. So we were thinking the experience that she is bringing, complemented with the knowledge that Guna Teja already knows, that can both be matched together. So that's that compatibility, and that's why we wanted to bring them both together at the same time, so that way they both can talk. And of course, your concerns, we worked with Curie because she is the one overseeing directly cabinet. So what we can do is we can try to check the codes again, see what is working, try the do the implementations of the changes of the codes, and then see how we can make that more effective. Because I agree that position has a lot to do, so we must make sure that we are supporting our chair of finance appropriately.
And just so you all know, the senators do work with the chair of finance, but the chair of finance and the assistant chair of finance work directly with Associated Students Accounting. So any training, any information that they might receive, any extra help that they will receive will not come from the senators, and they will not come directly from Vice President Emiliano Aragon or myself. It'll come from Associated Students Accounting. So they will be the ones that give her and Guna the most access to information and trainings. Also, I had just been told that we have this room until 11, so please, if you guys have any further discussion points, please keep it concise. Senator Vicente.
I would just like to comment on Emily Tourette, because last year I recently joined CSUN Rugby, and I just want to say that I find that she's a very hardworking, supportive and positive, not only teammate, but also just in her leadership role. And I feel confident in working alongside her and seeing her grow in this position.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of voting Emily Tourette into our Chair of Finance role, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those opposed? All those abstained? Okay, this passes. We will now welcome Emily into our Chair of Finance. Senator Dominguez.
I move to reconsider this vote, especially due to the
Point
fact
of
that
order. You
Oh.
can't reconsider a vote if you voted not in the prevailing side. So you'd have had to vote yes.
Thank you. Moving on to line item 2 to approve the appointment of Dulce Contreras to Health and Human Development Senator. Is there a motion? Senator Gavino?
Would it be beneficial? I want to get the board's perspective on this just to make the motion to approve all three of them, or would you like to discuss each one? Okay. I move to approve the appointment of Dulce Contreras for Health and Human Development Senator.
Thank you. Is there a second? Vice President Jimeniano Aragon, is there any discussion? Senator Humano.
Yeah, I would just like to make some brief comments about Dulce Contreras. I feel like she has played a key role in elevating the Environmental and Occupational Health Student Association into something more than just a club. She has played a key role in pretty much making it a network of future professionals entering the workforce. She has booked guest speakers for the association with professionals already working in the occupational health field. She helps plan fundraisers and events, and she has also booked us trips to facilities not easily accessible to the public. So she has really great connections. I feel like she's passionate about making change here on campus, and she has already established a legacy within the College of Health and Human Development.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Senator Basilio?
Yeah, in her bio, the candidate mentioned a desired collaboration within her college. Were there any plans that stood out to both of you that she might have mentioned to make this happen?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry.
In her bio, the candidate mentions a desired collaboration within her college. Were there any plans that stood out to both of you that she might have mentioned to make this happen?
Vice President Jimeniano Aragon?
Sorry, I'm pulling up her document. So something that we were discussing or that Dulce mentioned during her interview was that she wants to make a career fair. So she wants to collaborate within all of her department to make an event that fulfills that. So a career fair, but for all of the majors within her college. So she wants to create events to be involved with every other major and that has connection with those majors. She wants to involve all majors within her college and wants to make events for networking to let them know about internships and ways to upgrade their resume. She also wants to explore networking with professors and students, as well as having certain administration, guest speakers, and socialization time.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, moving on to the rest of the items, I will only allow the board to have one question per person, just because we have 6 minutes to get through all of the items. So if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of approving Dulce Contreras as Health and Human Development Senator, please raise your hand. Okay, this passes unanimously. Moving on to line item 3, approving the appointment for Gunateja Gali as Assistant Chair of Finance. Is there a motion? Senator Gavino.
I move to approve the appointment of Gunateja Gali to the Assistant Chair of Finance position.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Arias? Oh, Dulce, you can also take your seat now. Next to Eddie.
Point of clarification, Dulce, you're now a voting member, so now you're voting.
So the line item 3 was seconded by Senator Arias. Is there any discussion? Senator Basilio.
In his bio, the candidate mentions a desire for making transparent and accessible finance committee decisions. Was there a plan for this goal, and how does the candidate plan to work alongside the chair in order to accomplish these goals?
One of the things that the candidate really wants to do is to publicize the finance committee agenda a little bit better, trying to work not only with the chair of finance, but also with our chair of outreach and recruitment to make sure that that information is accessible. And
one of the things that both candidates really also mentioned was the fact that they want to make sure that the finance committee does receive the amount of members that is needed, because one of the issues with the way that the finance committee is structured right now is that if there are not enough voting members in the finance committee, a lot of supplemental funding has to go to the board rather than going through the finance committee. So things that are like less than $1,000 could end up coming to us rather than going through the finance committee. So it's a lot of making sure that the agenda is more accessible to students and making sure that the outreach is done to fill that finance committee. Vice President Geminiano Aragon.
I will shortly add, he was very focused on not only the committee agenda, but also the committee members. So his experience in doing budget, he wants to transfer that to the members and wants to ensure that all of them understand what it's being asked and how we can make sure that the funding is allocated to clubs and organizations equitable.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of approving Gunateja Gali as Assistant Chair of Finance, please raise your hand. Okay, this passes unanimously. Moving on to Sheen Gupta to be appointed as our Chair of Outreach and Recruitment. Is there a motion? Senator Quiroga.
I move to approve Sheen Gupta as Chair of Outreach and Recruitment.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Garcia, is there any discussion? Senator Dominguez.
Point of clarification, can I move to postpone item right now?
Vice President Geminiano Aragon.
I would go a little bit against that just because outreach and recruitment falls on their chair, which they have to go under HR. HR process is taking a little bit long, so we want to get her on board as soon as possible. Remember that she is the one who handles the process for all of the applications that we have, and we're missing all committee members. So we really want to start with that process as soon as we are able to.
Is there any further discussion? Senator Basilio.
In her biography, the candidate mentions high school outreach as the goal. Did you both clarify that that is not our jurisdiction?
We did discuss that what we can do as an alternative was focus on incoming freshmen and focus on outreaching to those freshmen that are maybe taking the dual enrollment here at CSUN, or possibly doing the extension programs through their high school at CSUN. So maybe focusing on just those because they would technically be considered CSUN students, but not paying the tuition. So we were talking about an alternative to focusing away from high school students, but maybe just focusing on the freshmen and our transfer students. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of approving Sheen Gupta as Chair of Outreach and Recruitment? Thank you. All those opposed? All those abstained? Okay, this passes. So moving on to 9, item B. It doesn't pass. Okay. So I will recommend to the board that we table line item B through F. Senator Gavino.
Yeah, so what happens if we were to table line items E and F? Would that mean that those senators have vacated their positions because we haven't suspended the rules?
If we postpone them, we would have to hold on to next week.
It'd be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Executive Director Allen.
I'm hoping that we can at least do C, which is the appointment of our audit committee, as our audit needs to close. We have a date set for September 12th.
So I will recommend to the board that we table line item B, E, and F. Senator Gavino.
I move to table line items B, E, and F to the next meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Quiroga, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of tabling items B, E, and F for the next Senate meeting, which will take place September 8th, 2025 at 9 a.m., please raise your hand. Thank you. All those opposed? All those abstained? Okay, this passes. Moving on to line item C, which will be our final agenda item, to approve the appointment of the voting members for the 2025 Audit Committee of the Associated Students, California State University Northridge Incorporated. Emily Tourette, Student Representative, Sunwook Kim, University Representative, and Michael Sunjati, Community Representative. Is there a motion? Vice President Geminiano Aragon.
I move to approve the following appointments of voting members to the 2025 Audit Committee of the Associated Students, California State University Northridge Incorporated. Emily Tourette for Student Representative, Sunwook Kim for University Representative, and Michael Sujati for Community Representative.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Quiroga. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of approving the appointments of the voting members for the 2025 Audit Committee, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those opposed? Thank you. All those abstained? Okay, this passes. Moving past information items, discussion items, legislative referrals will not be read until September 8th, just to let you all know. On to announcements. Are there any announcements from the board? Okay, seeing and hearing none, on to final roll call.
Vice President Geminiano Aragon.
Here.
Senator Abrams. Here. Senator Arias Gomez.
Here.
Senator Atias.
Here.
Senator Basilio.
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa.
Here.
Senator Contreras.
Here.
Senator Cunanan.
Here.
Senator DeWood.
Here.
Senator Dominguez.
Here.
Senator Garcia.
Here.
Senator Gavino.
Here.
Senator Hernandez. Senator Kodka.
Here.
Senator Quiroga.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Umana.
Here.
Senator Vicente.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. I adjourn this meeting at 11:04 a.m.
So the ones who had their the suspension of the rules, let's go to the office and let's talk about that. Yeah, thank you.
There is ant all over this table right here. It's really bad. They're all pointing there all the way to next. They want.